Hello, Chain Gang, and welcome back to the Four Chains Travel. Today, we're going to focus on how to book all types of cruises. But as retirement travelers or full-time travelers, we came upon a system for the best way to book repositioning cruises. You might be wondering, what is a repositioning cruise? I've had people ask me, is that when they reposition travelers or vacationers from one place to another? That's actually not what it is. It is a side effect of the people get to go along. But what they're actually doing when they have a repositioning cruise is the companies are repositioning the cruise ship from one region in the world to another. And it happens at specific times of year. So for instance, the summer travel cruising in the Mediterranean is very popular. So at the end of the summer season or early fall, they need to move that cruise ship from the Mediterranean to Florida, because then in the winter months, cruising around Florida is what is most popular, because obviously for weather reasons. Then at the end of that season, they need to move that ship back from Florida to Europe.
Yeah, Angie's right. I think that most people think of cruises as a special and kind of expensive splurge. But for retirement travelers or full-time travelers or slow travelers, whatever you want to call it, it's actually a way to get our budget down. That seems kind of crazy to people, but if you think about it, if you watched our video on how to afford full-time travel, a key element to that is selling your house. Because you then not only don't have a mortgage or you don't have rent, you don't have the expenses associated with owning a house, repairs, insurances, all of that kind of thing.
Utilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Property tax.
So our expenses are transportation, lodging, and food. Those are our main transportations. And if we have some extra money, we throw some entertainment in there. But if we are on a cruise, that is providing lodging. If you are a first-time cruiser or just an occasional cruiser, you're still paying for your normal lodging and you're paying for the cruise. So the math is a little bit different. But if you think about it, if you can avoid a big expense like a transatlantic or trans-Pacific flight by taking a repositioning cruise with a very similar price, but then you're also getting lodging and food, that's a real game changer.
And entertainment.
Yes.
Yeah,
and there's entertainment that's thrown in there. That's a really good point.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with regular cruises, and we'll talk about them today because the system for finding deals applies to regular cruises as well as repositioning cruises, so all types of cruises. But we're budget travelers, so a cruise that leaves a port and returns to the same port, it doesn't kind of check that transportation box for us, so we're not really interested in that right now. We would personally only purchase a cruise like that leaves a port and returns to the same port if it was through the My Vegas app.
My Vegas, baby.
Because they're currently offering free cruises on My Vegas for Norwegian Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean. However, you need about 1.5 million to 3 million points in order to cash that in for the free cruises on those two cruise lines. And how many points do I currently have?
You have almost 1.5. I have over 3 million. If you want us to do a video on My Vegas, just let us know and we'll do it. We just autoplay it in the morning while we're having our coffee. So it's really no effort at all, though we do it every day.
We used to autoplay it. Now I drink my coffee and give him my phone. I don't have time for that.
That's true.
Jim does autoplay both of our
Yeah, I
accounts.
autoplay both. Yeah, that's true. Now, in terms of booking a cruise, if you want to get the best deal, time is a factor, and time's a factor in two different ways. Number one, what time of year that you book it, and number two, when you book it in relation to when that particular cruise goes on sale. Let's talk about the time of year. That's real easy. It's now, baby. Yeah. You know, we're taping this at the end of December. A lot of people like to get cruises for gifts. And so cruise lines want to grab those people, so they offer discounts. And then the next time of year is right after that. January through March is known in the cruise industry as wave season. I don't think the importance of January through March is as important now as it used to be, but frequent cruisers recognize that. They know it's like other shoppers recognize Black Friday. This is when the deals are going to be, so it gets offered a lot. But these days, because cruising is becoming so popular, I actually think when you purchase the cruise in relation to when it goes on sale is the more important of the two. So there's two times of when to purchase a cruise in terms of when it's released. Number one is when it's first released. And the reason for that is cruising's expensive. The cruise ship we're taking, how much did they say it was to build the thing?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like $1 billion, the Celebrity Ascent. And so they need to fill those, and sailing it is expensive. So when they first release those tickets, if they can get sales right off the bat, that gives these big companies like a big sigh of relief. And then the traditional last minute cruises, which are 90 days before the cruise. Every cruise website, not just the ones we're talking about today, will have a tab or a button, find last minute deals. But here's the reality. Those deals aren't as good as they used to, and I'm assuming it is because there are already enough cruises booked. If a cruise line looks 90 days out and they have a certain amount of cabins not sold, yeah, sure, they'll do a discount. I just don't think it's happening as often, and we're certainly glad we booked our cruise early, right?
Yeah, we booked a cruise for next November, 14 months in advance, and that was 3 months ago that we booked it. And the prices have already gone up. How much?
$600. Yeah. So
that's considerable.
Yeah, I mean, that might not mean a lot to you guys, but boy, to me, it sure does. Okay, now we're going to reset. I'm going to take you to my setup. Angie's going to film me. It took me a long time to come up with this, and feel free to put in the comments if you think there's a better way to do it. But I really want to share this to you because, at least in terms of getting a deal, there isn't. I really know you can get a great deal doing this, and we talked about vacations to go, last minute cruise. There's a little honk. I guess they're approving. Vacations to go is certainly the go-to for many cruisers, and so what I'm going to be doing is showing you how I utilize both vacations to go and my credit card website to find the first deal. So we're going to get right back at you. So this is the setup here that I was talking about. I have a laptop and I have my desktop. Now, all you really need are two internet devices. Theoretically, you could use your phone and you could use an iPad. You could actually do this by just bringing up tabs, but for me, I just found it easier to not have to switch. I want the information on both that are going to be up here. And I can tell you right now, what I have is, I have my American Express travel portal, and I'm going to explain why, and then I have the Vacations to Go website. Now, you may not have an American Express, particularly if you are a first-time cruiser or you are not a particularly avid cruiser and you're just looking into it now. You'll notice if you get to know the world of retirement travel or full-time travel, everybody has in particular the Amex Platinum because it is so beneficial to travel, and the amount of discounts and freebies that you can get by having the Amex Platinum are absolutely huge. But if you want to substitute, I would say Cruise Critic or CheapCaribbean.com. Those are both great cruise sites. Cheap Caribbean covers more than just the Caribbean. But for me, the ideal situation is the Amex Cruise Privileges Program and the Vacations to Go. I want to talk about some things that I'm not going to cover in this video. If I get a lot of comments from you guys that you want me to focus on these areas, I will. But my big pet peeve about cruises is we're budget travelers. So you go ahead and you make yourself a reservation on a cruise and you think, oh, this is a great deal. It's really in my budget. And then you find out about things like Angie and I did on our first cruise that really adds to the cost of it. Now, back in the day, it used to be things, if you weren't a veteran cruiser, I remember the first cruise we went on, we had to sit in a class for over an hour explaining to us how we're supposed to tip everybody, and they give you these envelopes and all of that. And then you find out about port charges and taxes and fees, and all of a sudden this incredible bargain isn't. These days, cruisers are wise to that. They know about all these charges. So every cruise we show you today the price is going to include port charges, it's going to include taxes, and it's going to include fees. Now, gratuities are a different thing, but every major cruise line, MSC makes it a little bit difficult to see, but every major cruise line essentially tells you what the tips are before. They're not suggested. They're going to be on your bill, and it's going to be very simple, okay? So what I don't like these days is what they're doing with increased charges. Now, first I want to talk about the charges, and these are things that are very recent, that just happened, that are not the cruise line's fault. Mexico, Greece, and New Zealand just added fees. So in other words, it's not the price of your cruise. The money doesn't go to the cruise company, but when they land in the port and you have to get off, all of a sudden you're paying a fee that you didn't think you would have to pay. And if you had been to these places a year before, you hadn't have paid those fees. So a lot of people are saying, hey, protest, don't go. Yeah, okay. So they're saying, don't go on the cruises to these places. There is a law. If it's a cruise leaving from the West Coast, it has to leave the United States to qualify under certain criteria. So they all stop in at least Mexico. And cruise people are telling Congress, let's change, I think it's called the Jones Law. You can put it in the comment. Let's change this law so we don't have to pay these extra fees. And then maybe they'll start to rescind the fee. And then the other fee that I'm talking about is Carnival Cruise Lines. I'm going to pull up the numbers here so I get it exactly right. Carnival has increased their internet fee, and it's listed on the website as $28 a day. Except very few people are single cruisers. If you are, I would still not like $28 a day, but for Angie and I, that becomes $56 a day because we both have to pay it. And then the alcohol packages, $88 a day now. So that is $176 a day for both of us. Now, you can order alcohol a la carte, but if you've been on a cruise before, you know that's outrageously expensive. So that's probably going to be a dry time for us.
That ends up being about $44 per drink. If you're going to have 2 drinks a night, I mean, I guess maybe you have a drink at the pool during the day, so maybe 3 drinks a day. But still, who's paying? Well, if you break it down that way, that's absolutely ridiculous.
You can get individual drinks, and they're usually in the upper teens. Maybe big specialty drinks would be $20. But certainly, that's how they sell it. They're like, oh, well, if you just get 3 or 4 drinks a day, you're saving money by getting the package. But you have to get that every single day, and it's just not worth it. So we're not going to be talking about cruises to those ports, and we're not going to be talking about Carnival cruises, but I'll tell you this, with those added charges, which I'm going to take into account when I tell you what are the best cruise deals you can book right now, Carnival really doesn't qualify on any of them because I add in those charges in comparison to what everybody else charges. Now, I can tell you we've got Vacations to Go here. I tried 17 cruise sites and I like Vacations to Go. I'm going to tell you why. So what I'll do is I'll pull up my Amex cruise privileges. As you can see, I still have 154,000 points left, so that's kind of nice. But then I go to the Vacations to Go site, okay? So if we look at this, okay, I have repositioning cruise pulled up. This is just an example, and I want to explain to you why I like it. We saw some cruise sites that said that this Celebrity Ascent was their favorite cruise that they had, and it's right here. Now, as you can see, this is $1,175. Angie talked about that. When we went to book it, it was $835. Now it's $1,135. But this is what I love about Vacations to Go. They give you a rating for the cruise ship, which is generally pretty reliable. You can see Celebrity Ascent is rated as 5.5. I'll tell you what I don't like is this thing. I don't know whether you can see it. The discount, pay no attention to that. I'm going to scroll back up to the top here. They say you save, this is the starting price, the brochure. So they're trying to say, for instance, on this one, that if you went to book it, it would cost you $44,000. It's a 50 something, or how many nights? That's a lot. Let's go down to a more reasonable one. They're saying this one, this 22-night cruise is $4,289. Try finding this cruise for $4,289. It's just impossible. And I think that what it is if you're under 50 years old, this is going to sound weird to you. The way you used to book cruises is you would get in your car and drive to a travel agent and they would give you brochures, hence the brochure price. And those brochures may still exist, and there are some travel agencies that still have brick and mortar locations, but I'd be shocked. You tell me in the comments if there's actually a way to do this brochure price. So don't focus on, sorry, I'm mumbling here. Don't focus on the percentage discount, just focus on the starting price, okay? So we scroll down here to the Celebrity Ascent, and this is why I like to go to them first, because it can be disqualifiers. I'm going to click on the ship. Now they're giving it 5.5 stars. They do some explanation, but everybody has different priorities. Look at all of the things it can tell you yes or no that you have, right? This is really awesome of what they can do. And it depends on what's important. Is a basketball court important to you? Maybe not. Fitness center for most people. A lot of people like these golfing simulators. They have that. So you look at all of these things, room service, et cetera, babysitting. But here's the thing that I like in particular. Year built, 2023. Now you're going to see on some cruises I'm going to show you later that some of them are older and they've been refurbished. Okay, if a cruise has been refurbished, that's good aesthetically. The interior will look better. There'll be a lot of niceties. It doesn't say what they refurbished, and never is that going to be what's key to me and why I wanted to book this brand new Celebrity Ascent: stability. There have been a lot of advancements when they construct the ship originally to cut down on the waves. I like sleeping at my age. And so if there's too many waves, I'm not going to be able to sleep, just like turbulence on a plane. And so when you have the newer ships, you can be assured that, yeah, it's not like it's going to be a smooth ride no matter what the weather is, but it really does ameliorate it a lot. So I look at all of the vacations to go thing, and there's something else that I want to show you here. I'm going to go back on vacations to go. They automatically will categorize it by what's the best deal. Well, you got to keep in mind with Vacations to Go, they make deals with websites. With cruise lines. So they want the cruise lines to give them the best possible deal. And in exchange for them giving them a big discount, they will put their cruise higher up on this list, right? But I've realized through experience that it is not always the best deal. So this is what I do. I come over here and I click our starting price, and it goes low to high. So the lowest repositioning cruise here is $737. You're going to find on the Amex site that is actually not the lowest repositioning cruise, but it ranks here. Now, here's another thing for full-time travelers that you could use. For most people, the total price is what matters, but what you can do here is click the price per night. 5.5 stars, that's actually something we might want to look at in the future. That kind of looks pretty dope right there.
Took note.
So that is a really good deal. And then I'm going to go to the Amex site, right? So I go to, let's see, am I already, oh yeah, I go to the cruise here, right? So it says sail to all destinations. Now, like Angie said, we're looking for repositioning. They call it either transatlantic or transpacific. No problem. Transatlantic, right? All cruise lines, I want to sail in October of 2025, and the duration 10 to 14 nights, let's say. So I search it, and now I want to compare it with that Celebrity Ascent price, right? Here we have a 13-night repositioning cruise on American Express for $788. The reason why I'm saying that with emphasis is, like, a lot of people get excited about, like, for instance, the Chase portal. If you see our video on comparing the Chase Ultimate Rewards with the Amex membership rewards, you can see that, yeah, you get 50% more points if you book through the Chase portal, but a lot of people in our community have noticed if you book certain travel through other means, you can find a better deal, and it's not worth the 50% extra, right? Okay, so we're going to go down here. Here's a Barcelona cruise, 13 nights, $852, 14 nights Spain for $965, and we're trying to see whether they have a deal on the Celebrity Ascent. Now, we're telling you this, we've already booked it. Now here it is, 1101, and it's 1175 with vacation. So this is $75 cheaper. Well, let's look. You can also get a $300 onboard credit, one unique amenity per stateroom. There's also, you can get a deal where drinks and Wi-Fi are included. Now, this depends on what kind of stateroom you're wanting, but here's another thing I like. The suites are very, very expensive here that you can notice, but there's not much of an upcharge for an outside room or a balcony room. We booked a panoramic ocean view, so we did pay extra, but not nearly as much extra as we would have paid on the celebrity website or anything else. So, but also keep in mind, look up here, 2 times points. So this is $74 cheaper. You get double the points if you book through the travel portal. And if you have the Amex Platinum, you get traveler's insurance, you get cancellation insurance, you get baggage insurance, all of those benefits. So in this particular case, the Amex portal is the best deal, but that's not always the case. So I'm going to show you some more examples.
Okay, here's something where Vacations to Go is much cheaper. You can see here it's $592. If you book with Norwegian Cruise Line directly, it's $642, and American Express was $828. This is a well-regarded cruise ship. They say it's 80% off, but I think that's obviously exaggerated, as it always is. It was refurbished in 2022, so aesthetically it's probably really nice, and it has lots of cool amenities that come with it, and it's Norwegian Cruise Line. So I would say in this case, you should book with Vacations to Go. But there are a couple that are not only better on Amex, but you can only get on Amex, and this is one of them. $92 repositioning cruise, only 2 nights, but it gets you from Southampton, which is a cruise port, to Hamburg, something to consider. Now, here's another one that's exactly the same, a 3-night repositioning cruise from Spain to Rome. It's $229 on Vacations to Go and Amex, so I would probably book it directly on Amex so you can get the points. Okay, here's one we looked up for a friend who's looking to cruise out in New York. MSC sent an alert that a 7-day cruise was only $399. That's $57 a day. I checked Vacations to Go. It looked like a good cruise. It was actually $1 cheaper. All the parameters fit their needs. So then I went to Amex, and it was the same price as Vacation to Go. It gave me a nice thing of the itinerary, and of course you get bonus points. So in this case, I looked at all 3 and came to the conclusion that Amex was the best deal, $56.85 a day. Okay, one of our viewers, Jesse, needed a early November cruise out of Tampa Bay that had family accommodations, and so I looked at this Rhapsody of the Seas, $586, which is $84 a day. It is a bit of an older ship, but he said that was okay because of the accommodations and deals that they have for family, as you can see there, and the babysitting availability. I looked on the website, and it was cheaper, $571 on Royal Caribbean, so I went to Amex, and as you can see, that was the cheapest of all at $536. Jesse does have the Amex Platinum, so he went ahead and booked with them. Okay, as I leave you with a view of the next cruise ship we're going to be taking, hopefully now you know when to get the best deals, where to get the best deals, and some of the pitfalls to watch out for. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please show with a like. If you like us, please show with a subscribe. We will answer every comment, every question. We just want you to have a better cruise. We'll see you next time on the 4 Chains Travel.